The ship was dying. Commander Ryan knew this the moment the first alarm started screaming through the metal walls. Red lights flashed everywhere. The floor shook so hard that her claws scraped against the metal as she tried to stay standing. She was Valari. Her people were the greatest hunters in the galaxy. They had conquered many worlds. They feared nothing. But right now, as her ship fell from the sky toward an unknown planet, Raya felt something cold in her chest. The nursery. The kittens. She ran through the shaking hallways. Smoke filled the air. Sparks flew from broken wires. 2 of her crew members lay dead against the wall, killed by a fallen beam. She did not stop. She could not stop. The nursery door was stuck. Raya slammed her shoulder against it once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th hit, it broke open. Inside, 12 kitten pods glowed with soft blue light. The younglings inside were crying, their small voices mixing with the ship's alarms. Raya grabbed the main pod, the one that held all 12 kittens together for transport. It was heavy, but she was strong. Her muscles burned as she lifted it and ran toward the escape area. Taiho met her there. He was bleeding from his head, but he was alive. He was a scarred male with 1 missing ear from an old battle. He had served under Raya for 10 years. "The escape pods are destroyed," Taiho said. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed fear. "We must hold on and pray to the old gods." There was no time to answer. The ship hit the ground. The world became fire and noise and pain. Raya felt herself flying through the air. She wrapped her body around the kitten pod, protecting it with her own flesh. Metal screamed. Glass broke. Then everything went black. When Raya opened her eyes, she saw a sky. Strange sky. It was blue with white clouds, like nothing she had seen before. She was lying on her back in the middle of broken ship parts. Her body hurt everywhere. When she tried to move, pain shot through her ribs. Broken. At least 3 of them. The kitten pod. She turned her head and saw it nearby. The pod was cracked open. Empty. The kittens had crawled out. Panic filled her chest. She forced herself to stand, ignoring the pain. Her golden eyes searched the wreckage. There, a small shape behind a broken wall. Another one near a smoking engine. She could hear their cries now, small and scared. Raya limped through the destruction, counting. 1, 2, 3 kittens. She found them hiding in corners and under metal sheets. 4, 5, 6. Some were burned. Some had cuts. One had a leg that bent the wrong way. 7, 8, 9. She gathered them carefully, bringing them to a clear spot away from the fire. The kittens huddled together, shaking. Their fur was matted with blood and dirt. They looked at her with big golden eyes full of trust. She was their commander. She was supposed to protect them. 10, 11. Where was the 12th? Taiho appeared from the smoke, carrying the last kitten in his arms. The small one was unconscious, with a bad wound on its side. But it was breathing. The others? Raya asked. Dead. All of them except us. Taiho set the wounded kitten down gently with its siblings. The communication system is destroyed. The engines are gone. We are stuck here. Raya looked around at this strange world. Trees surrounded the crash site, tall and green. The air smelled different here, full of scents she did not know. In the distance, mountains rose against the sky. It was beautiful. It was also a prison. A sound made her ears turn. Something was moving in the trees. Something was coming. Raya pushed herself in front of the kittens, raising her claws. Every part of her body screamed in pain, but she ignored it. She was Valari. She would die before she let anything touch her young. The creature that stepped out of the trees was like nothing she had ever seen. It walked on 2 legs. Like the Valari, but that was where the similarities ended. It had no fur, just strange fabric covering most of its body. Its skin was soft and pink-brown, with no scales or armor. Its face had 2 small eyes, a flat nose, and a soft mouth with no fangs at all. Its hands had no claws. They were just soft, flat things with 5 small fingers each. It was weak. Obviously weak. Raya could kill it with one swipe of her claws. But instead of running away like prey should, the creature stopped and looked at the scene. Its eyes moved from the burning ship to the wounded Valari to the crying kittens. And then it did something strange. It raised its hands, showing Raya that they were empty. No weapons. No threat. It spoke in a calm voice. Sounds that meant nothing to Raya. Raya hissed. "Stay back, creature. I will kill you if you come closer." The creature did not understand her words, but it seemed to understand her meaning. It stopped walking. Slowly, very slowly, it reached into its pack and pulled out a small device. It pointed at its own ear, then at Raya. Ho growled. "It is trying to trick us." "Perhaps," Raya said. But she watched as the creature pressed a button on the device. A light blinked. The creature spoke again. This time, words came through. Broken. Strange, but understandable. "I. Not hurt. You. My name, Yuna. I am healer. A healer." Raya looked at the kittens behind her. One was badly burned. Another had shrapnel in its paw. The smallest one still had not woken up, blood slowly seeping from its wound. Raya had no medical supplies. She had no way to help them. The creature called Yuna took a slow step forward. It pointed at the wounded kittens. "Your children hurt. I can help. Please, let me help." Every instinct told Raya to attack. This was an unknown creature on an unknown world. It could be lying. It could be dangerous. But when she looked into its strange flat eyes, she saw something she recognized. Concern. Real, honest concern. Not the look of a hunter sizing up prey. Not the look of a liar planning a trap. Just simple worry for the wounded young. Behind her, a kitten cried out in pain. Raya lowered her claws. "If you hurt them," she said slowly, making sure the translation device caught every word, "I will tear you apart. Do you understand?" The creature called Yuna nodded. Then it walked forward, knelt beside the most badly wounded kitten, and opened its pack. Its hands, those soft, weak hands, moved with careful purpose. And Raya watched in confusion as this strange prey creature began to save Valari lives. Yuna had been alone for 11 months. Research Outpost 7 was a small station on the edge of known space, built to study plant life on this empty world. She was the only human there. Her job was to collect samples, write reports, and wait for the supply ship that came twice a year. It was quiet work. Lonely work. But Yuna did not mind. She liked the silence. She liked the green forests and the clean air. After what she had seen in the war back on Earth, peace was a gift. She was eating her morning meal when the sky caught fire. The ship came down fast, leaving a trail of smoke across the blue sky. Yuna jumped from her chair and ran to the window. She watched the ship crash into the forest about 2 kilometers away. The ground shook. A ball of fire rose into the air. For a moment, Yuna stood frozen. Her heart beat fast. Her hand shook a little. Then she took a deep breath and moved. She grabbed her emergency medical kit. She put on her boots. She ran out the door and into the forest, moving as fast as she could through the trees. She had been a combat medic in the Korean Army for 6 years. She had served in places where bombs fell every day. She had treated soldiers while bullets flew over her head. She had held dying men and women in her arms and told them everything would be okay, even when it would not. That training never left her. When there was danger, when there was pain, when there was blood, Yuna did not run away. She ran toward it. The crash site was worse than she expected. The ship was huge, much bigger than any human vessel. Strange metal, strange design. Not from Earth, not from any colony she knew about. Aliens, real aliens. Yuna stopped at the edge of the clearing. She saw bodies. Huge bodies covered in black fur. Some were clearly dead, crushed by falling metal or burned by fire. But some were moving. And then she saw the children. They were small, with soft fur and big golden eyes. They looked like kittens, but they walked on two legs like little people. Some were crying. Some were bleeding. One was lying very still, too still. A large alien stood in front of them, protecting them. It was wounded, holding its side, but its claws were raised and ready to kill. When it saw Yuna, it made a sound like an angry cat, but deeper, louder, more dangerous. Yuna's body told her to run. This creature was a predator. Everything about it screamed danger. The claws, the fangs, the powerful muscles under that dark fur. One hit from those claws would cut her in half. But behind that creature, the children were dying. Yuna raised her hands slowly. She had learned long ago that body language was universal. Open hands meant no threat. Slow movements meant no danger. "I'm not going to hurt you," she said. Her voice was calm and steady. "I just want to help." The creature did not understand. Of course, it did not. Yuna reached slowly into her pocket and pulled out her translation device. It was old technology, but it worked with most known alien languages. Maybe it would work with this one. She turned it on and spoke again. The device blinked, working hard to find patterns in the alien speech it was hearing. The large alien spoke. Angry sounds. Warning sounds. The device translated slowly, word by word. "Stay, back, kill." Yuna nodded. She understood. This was a mother protecting her children. It did not matter what species you were. That instinct was the same everywhere. "Your children are hurt," Yuna said slowly, pointing at the wounded little ones. "I can help. I am a healer. Please, let me help them." The alien watched her with those golden eyes. Yuna could see the war happening inside it. Trust the stranger or protect the young. Fight or accept, help. Behind the alien, a small kitten cried out. The sound was full of pain. It cut through the air like a knife. The alien lowered its claws. Yuna walked forward. Her heart was beating hard, but her hands were still. She had learned that skill in the war. Fear was okay. Shaking hands were not. When you held a needle or a knife, when someone's life depended on you, you could not shake. You had to be a rock. She knelt beside the most badly wounded kitten. It was small, maybe equivalent to a human toddler. A deep cut ran across its side, and blood was coming out slowly. The kitten's eyes were closed. Its breathing was weak. Yuna opened her medical kit. She pulled out antiseptic, bandages, needle, and thread. Her hands moved automatically, doing what they had done 1,000 times before. Clean the wound. Check the depth. No major organs hit. Good. Stop the bleeding. Stitch the flesh together. Small, careful stitches. Cover with clean bandage. The large alien watched every movement. So did the scarred male standing behind it. Yuna could feel their eyes on her hands. She could feel them waiting for her to make one wrong move. She did not make wrong moves. She was too well trained for that. When she finished with the first kitten, she moved to the second. This one had burns on its arm and chest. Yuna treated them with burn cream, wrapped them gently, gave the kitten a painkiller from her kit. The third kitten had something sharp stuck in its paw. Yuna removed it carefully, cleaned the wound, and wrapped it tight. One by one, she moved through the wounded. The two adult aliens never stopped watching her. They were still ready to kill her if she did anything wrong. Yuna accepted this. She was in their territory now, working on their children. They had every right to be careful. The kittens were scared at first. Some of them hissed at her. Some tried to scratch her with their tiny claws. But Una spoke softly to each one, using the same voice she used with wounded soldiers. Calm, gentle, safe. It's okay, little one. I know it hurts. Just hold still. Almost done. You're being so brave. They did not understand her words, but they seemed to understand her tone. One by one, they stopped fighting and let her work. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. Una's back hurt from kneeling. Her arms were tired. But she did not stop. 12 kittens. Some with small wounds. Some with big ones. One with a broken leg that she set carefully with a splint. One who had breathed in too much smoke and needed medicine to help its lungs. When she finished with the last one, Una sat back and let out a long breath. Her shirt was covered in alien blood. Her hands were red. But all 12 kittens were alive. All 12 kittens were going to be okay. The large alien, the commander, walked toward her slowly. Una looked up at the massive predator standing over her. She was too tired to be scared now. The alien spoke. The translator device, now working better, gave her the words in almost real time. You saved them. Why? Una smiled. It was a tired smile, but it was real. Because they needed help, she said. That's reason enough. The alien stared at her for a long moment. Its golden eyes were impossible to read. Then it nodded once and turned away to check on its young. Una closed her medical kit and allowed herself one small moment of relief. Then she stood up, because there was still work to do. There was always more work to do. Night came to the strange world. The sky turned from blue to orange to deep purple. Strange stars appeared, more than Una had ever seen from Earth. The air grew cold. Una built a fire near the crash site. She used pieces of broken wood from the forest and a lighter from her kit. The flames danced in the darkness, giving light and warmth to the survivors. The Valari kittens were restless. Their wounds hurt. The medicine was wearing off. Some of them were starting to cry again. Small sounds of pain that broke Una's heart. She needed to check their bandages. She needed to clean their wounds again. She needed to give them more medicine. But there were 12 of them, and only one of her. I need to examine them again, Una said to the commander, whose name she had learned was Raya. The bandages might need changing. Some wounds might be getting infected. Raya nodded. The translation device had gotten better over the hours, learning more words each time someone spoke. Communication was still slow, but it was possible now. What do you need? I need them to come to me one at a time, Una said. The sickest ones first. Can you help me organize them? Raya turned and spoke to the kittens in her own language. Her voice was gentle but firm. The kittens listened. They always listened to their commander. What happened next amazed Una. The kittens began to move. They got up from where they were sitting and formed a line. The most badly wounded kitten, the one with the cut on its side, sat at the front. Behind it came the one with the burns. Then the one with the broken leg. Then the others, organized by how badly they were hurt. They had made a queue. A perfect, organized queue. Without fighting. Without pushing. Without complaint. Taiho watched from his place by the fire. His eyes were narrow with suspicion. They line up like prey waiting to be eaten, he said quietly to Raya. This human trains them like animals. No, Raya said. She watched the human woman kneel before the first kitten and begin to unwrap its bandages. Look at their faces. They are not scared. They trust her. Taiho made a sound of disbelief. Trust a prey creature? They are young and foolish. They are young, Raya agreed. But perhaps not foolish. Yuna worked on the first kitten. She removed the old bandages carefully, checking the wound underneath. The stitches were holding. There was no sign of infection. Good. She cleaned the area with antiseptic and wrapped it with fresh bandages. "You're doing great," she said softly to the kitten. "See? All done. You can go rest now." The kitten did not understand her words, but it understood that it was finished. It stood up, walked to the back of the line, and curled up to sleep. The second kitten came forward. Yuna repeated the process. Check, clean, rebandage. The burns were healing well. The cream was working. "Does it hurt?" she asked, knowing the kitten could not answer. "I know burns are the worst, but you're being very brave." The kitten made a small sound. Not a cry of pain. Something else. Something almost like a purr. Yuna smiled and finished her work. "Next, please." The third kitten came. Then the fourth. Then the fifth. The line moved slowly but smoothly. Yuna fell into a rhythm. "Jack, clean, bandage. Jack, clean, bandage." She hummed softly as she worked. An old Korean lullaby her grandmother used to sing. The kittens grew calmer as they listened to her hum. Even the ones still waiting in line seemed more relaxed. They leaned against each other, their small bodies sharing warmth. Raya watched all of this with growing confusion. She was a soldier. She had commanded troops in battle. She had seen field medics work on wounded Valari before. But she had never seen anything like this. Valari medics were rough and fast. They fixed wounds quickly because there was always another battle coming. They did not speak gently. They did not hum songs. They certainly did not make their patients feel safe. This human was different. Everything about her was soft. Her voice, her hands, her movements. But there was something underneath that softness. Something strong. The sixth kitten came forward. This one was younger than the others, barely old enough to walk properly. It was scared. When Yuna reached for its bandage, it panicked and bit her arm. Hard. Yuna made a small sound of pain. Blood appeared on her skin where the tiny fangs had broken through. The kitten, realizing what it had done, started to cry. Taiho jumped forward, ready to grab the kitten and punish it. But Yuna raised her other hand to stop him. "It's okay," she said. Her voice was still calm, still gentle. "It's okay, little one. I know you're scared. I know it hurts. I'm not angry." She did not pull her arm away. She did not yell. She just waited, speaking softly, until the kitten let go on its own. Then she cleaned her own wound with one hand while using the other to pet the kitten's head. "See? We're friends. No harm done. Now let me look at your bandage, okay?" The kitten sniffled. It did not bite again. It sat very still while Yuna finished her work, its big golden eyes fixed on her face. When she was done, the kitten did something unexpected. It leaned forward and pressed its small head against Yuna's chest. A Valari gesture of thanks and trust. Yuna hugged it gently. "You're welcome, little one. Go rest now." The kitten joined its siblings at the back of the group. The next one came forward. Raya felt something strange in her chest. It was not pain. It was not fear. It was something she had not felt in a very long time. She was moved. This small, weak creature had been bitten until she bled, and she had not fought back. She had not shown anger. She had not punished the young one. She had simply continued to help. "Taiho," Raya said quietly. "Commander, I was wrong about humans." Taiho's ears turned toward her. "What do you mean?" "I thought they were prey. Weak, simple, something to hunt." Raya watched Yuna move to the next kitten in line. But look at her. She bleeds and does not stop working. She sings to calm our young. She organizes them with kindness instead of force. It could be a trick, Taiho said, but his voice was less certain now. No trick, Raya said. I have fought across many worlds. I know what trickery looks like. This is something else. Then what is it? Raya did not answer right away. She watched the human woman finish with the last kitten. Watched her sit back and stretch her tired shoulders. Watched her smile at the young ones, even though her own arms still bled. I do not know, Raya finally said. But I think I want to find out. The fire crackled. The kittens slept in a warm pile. And somewhere in the darkness, a human woman hummed an old lullaby while she bandaged her own wound with hands that never trembled. 3 days passed. The kittens were healing well. Their wounds were closing. Their spirits were returning. They had started to play again, chasing each other through the grass near the crash site. Careful of their bandages, Yuna watched them with tired eyes. She had not slept much. Every few hours she checked on her patients, making sure no infections had started, making sure the broken leg was healing straight, making sure the burned skin was not getting worse. Her body was exhausted. Her medical supplies were running low. But every time she looked at those 12 little lives playing in the sunlight, she felt it was worth it. Raya approached her. The commander's ribs were healing too, though slower than the kittens. Yuna had wrapped them tight on the second day, showing Raya how to breathe carefully so the bones would set right. Human, Raya said. Then she paused. Yuna, may I speak with you? Yuna nodded. She was sitting on a fallen log, eating a nutrition bar from her kit. Her last one. After this, she would need to find food from the forest. Raya sat down next to her. It was strange, sitting so close to a creature she could kill with one swipe. But after 3 days, the strangeness had faded. They had shared meals. They had worked together to build shelters for the kittens. They had talked, slowly and carefully through the translator, about their worlds. I have a question, Raya said. It has been bothering me since you arrived. Ask, why did you help us? Yuna looked at her. You asked me this before. I told you. Because you needed help. Yes, but that is not a real answer. Raya's golden eyes studied her face. We are strangers. We are predators. Our kind has never met your kind before. You had no reason to risk your life for us. No benefit. No reward. You could have stayed in your shelter and let us die. No one would have known. Yuna was quiet for a moment. She looked at the kittens playing in the grass. One of them, the little one who had bitten her, was chasing a flying insect. Its bandaged paw did not slow it down at all. Do you know what I did before I came here? Yuna asked. No, I was a soldier. A medic. I healed people who were hurt in war. Raya nodded. This made sense. It explained the human skill with wounds and medicine. War is terrible, Yuna continued. People die every day. Some of them are your friends. Some of them are strangers. Some of them are enemies. She paused. I once treated an enemy soldier. He had been shot. He was dying. My commander told me to leave him, to let him die. He was the enemy. He did not deserve my help. What did you do? I helped him anyway. Yuna smiled sadly. He was someone's son, someone's brother, maybe someone's father. He was scared and in pain and alone. How could I walk away from that? Raya was silent. On Valari, such an act would be seen as weakness. Treason, even. You did not help the enemy. You killed the enemy. Did you get in trouble? Raya asked. Yes, big trouble. They sent me here, to this empty world, as punishment. Yuna laughed softly. They called it a research post. But really, it was exile. They wanted me far away from the war. You were punished for showing kindness to an enemy. Yes, that is foolish. Yuna shrugged. Maybe, but I would do it again. And again. And again. Every single time. Why? Yuna turned to look at Raya directly. Her strange flat eyes were serious. Because that is what humans are supposed to do. We are not the strongest species. We are not the fastest. We do not have claws or fangs or armor. But we have something else. What? We have the choice to be kind. We have the choice to help. We have the choice to see a wounded stranger and say, this person matters, even if I do not know them, even if they are different from me, even if helping them puts me in danger. Yuna paused. That choice is what makes us human. If we lose that, we lose everything. Raya thought about this for a long time. The kittens continued to play. The sun moved slowly across the sky. Taiho was sleeping in the shade of a tree, his scarred face peaceful for once. Your hands, Raya finally said. What about them? When you work on the wounded, they never shake. Even when my kitten bit you. Even when you were surrounded by predators who could kill you in a second. Your hands were always steady. Yuna looked down at her hands. They were shaking now. Small trembles that she could not stop. They shake, she said. See? They are shaking right now. But not when you were working. No, not then. Yuna closed her hands into fists, then opened them again. When I am needed, I do not let myself shake. Fear is allowed. Shaking is not. If my hands shake, I might make a mistake. If I make a mistake, someone might die. So I do not shake. How do you do this? How do you control fear? I do not control it. I just put it away, in a box inside my mind. I tell myself, you can shake later. You can be scared later. Right now, someone needs you. So be still. Raya shook her head slowly. This is not a prey thing. This is not a predator thing. I do not know what this is. Yuna smiled. This is a human thing. A kitten ran up to them. It was the one with the broken leg, moving carefully on its splint. It climbed onto Yuna's lap and curled up there, pressing its warm body against her stomach. Yuna stroked its fur gently. Hello, little one. Are you tired from playing? The kitten made a purring sound and closed its eyes. Raya watched this. A Valari kitten, child of predators, hunters, conquerors, sleeping peacefully in the lap of an alien creature. Trusting completely. Fearing nothing. You have changed them, Raya said quietly. No, I just showed them that not everything different is dangerous. They figured out the rest on their own. They will remember you. When they grow up, when they become warriors, they will remember the soft human who healed them with gentle hands. Yuna looked down at the sleeping kitten. Her eyes were wet. Good, she whispered. That is good. Raya reached out and did something she had never done to a non-Valari before. She placed her clawed hand on Yuna's shoulder, carefully, gently, the way she would touch a member of her own family. Thank you, Raya said. For my kittens. For teaching me. For showing me that there are kinds of strength I did not know existed. Yuna put her small soft hand over Raya's massive clawed one. Thank you for letting me help. They sat together in silence as the sun began to set. Two creatures from different worlds, different species, different everything. But in that moment, they understood each other perfectly. And somewhere in the sky, unseen by anyone below, a Valari rescue ship entered the planet's orbit. Help was coming. But something had already changed. Something that could never be unchanged. The hunters had learned that prey could be strong. The predators had learned that softness was not weakness. And 12 kittens had learned that the universe was bigger and stranger and more wonderful than they had ever imagined. The rescue ships came down from the sky like falling stars. 5 of them, large and black with the golden symbols of the Valari Dominion painted on their sides. They landed in a circle around the crash site, their engines making the trees bend and the grass fly. Una stood back as Valari soldiers poured out of the ships. They were huge, even bigger than Raya. They wore armor that gleamed in the sunlight, and carried weapons that looked like they could cut through stone. Their eyes moved across the crash site, checking for threats. When they saw Una, they raised their weapons. "Stop!" Raya's voice cut through the noise. She stepped between Una and the soldiers, her claws raised. "This human is under my protection. Anyone who touches her will answer to me." The soldiers hesitated. Raya was just a commander. These soldiers served the fleet admiral himself. A new figure stepped off the lead ship. He was old, with gray fur and scars covering most of his face. One of his eyes was missing, replaced with a glowing red machine eye. His presence made even Raya stand straighter. Fleet Admiral Do Yoon, the greatest warrior in the Valari Dominion, the conqueror of 12 worlds, the hunter who had never lost a battle. "Commander Raya," he said. His voice was deep and cold. "Report. We crashed 4 days ago, Admiral. Unknown planet. Unknown cause. We lost all crew except myself and Scout Taiho." Raya gestured to Taiho, who stood nearby with his head bowed respectfully. The kittens survived. All 12 of them. The kittens? Do-hyun's machine eye focused on the young ones, who were hiding behind Yuna's legs. How did they survive such a crash? This human saved them. Do-hyun turned his gaze to Yuna. She stood very still under his stare. She had faced scary things before, but nothing quite like this old warrior with death in his eyes. "A human," Do-hyun said. He spoke the word like it was something dirty. "A soft, weak prey creature. You expect me to believe it saved Valari young? I do not expect you to believe anything, Admiral. I do not expect you to believe anything. I do not expect you to believe anything, Admiral. I am telling you what happened." Raya stepped aside so Do-hyun could see the kittens clearly. "Look at them. See their bandages? See their splints?" She did that, with her own hands, working through the night, asking nothing in return. Do-hyun walked toward the kittens. They shrank back, pressing closer to Yuna's legs. They did not know this scary male with the red eye. They only knew that Yuna was safe. The Admiral stopped. He looked at the kittens. He looked at Yuna. His face showed nothing. "Why?" he asked. Yuna understood the question without translation. It was the same question Raya had asked. The same question everyone asked. "Because they were children," she said. Her voice was steady. "Because they were hurt. Because helping is the right thing to do. The right thing." Do-hyun made a sound that might have been a laugh. Humans speak of right and wrong as if the universe cares about such things. The universe only cares about strength. The strong survive. The weak die. That is the only truth. "Then maybe I do not care about the universe's truth," Yuna said. "I care about my own." Do-hyun stared at her. Nobody spoke to the fleet admiral like that. Nobody. His claws twitched. For a moment, Yuna thought he was going to kill her right there. Then one of the kittens moved. The little one with the broken leg, the one who had slept in Yuna's lap, stepped forward. It walked right up to Admiral Do-hyun, looked up at his scarred face, and made a small sound. Yuna did not understand the word, but Do-hyun clearly did. His face changed. Something shifted behind that cold mask. What did it say? Yuna asked Raya quietly. "It called you its second mother," Raya said. Her voice was strange. "In our language, that is. It is a very sacred thing. A kitten only has one mother by blood, but it can choose a second mother. Someone who protected it. Someone who cared for it. Someone who loved it." Yuna felt tears in her eyes. She blinked them away. Doyun looked at the kitten for a long moment. Then he looked at the other kittens, all watching with their big golden eyes. Then he looked at Yuna. "You have done something impossible," he said slowly. "You have made Valari kittens trust a prey creature. You have made them love a stranger." He paused. "I have conquered 12 worlds. I have killed thousands of enemies. But I could not do what you have done." He turned to his soldiers. "Put your weapons down. This human is to be treated as a guest of the Dominion. Anyone who harms her will be executed." The soldiers obeyed immediately. Their weapons lowered. Their postures changed from threatening to respectful. Doyun turned back to Yuna. "I do not understand your kind. You are soft. You are weak. You have no claws, no fangs, no armor. By every law of nature, you should not exist. Stronger species should have eaten you long ago." "And yet here we are," Yuna said. "Yes, here you are." Do-hyun nodded slowly. "I think perhaps we were wrong about humans. I think perhaps softness and weakness are not the same thing." "No," Yuna agreed. "They are not." The rescue fleet stayed for 3 days. They salvaged what they could from the crashed ship. They buried the dead with proper Valari rituals. They gave Yuna supplies, food, medicine, tools. They gave her a communication device that could reach across the stars. On the last day, before the ships left, Raya came to Yuna with something in her hands. It was a small bone, carved with symbols and painted with gold. "This is a clan mark," Raya said. "It shows that you are part of my clan, that you have a place in my family, that any Valari who sees it must treat you as one of us." Yuna took the bone carefully. It was smooth and warm in her hands. "I do not know what to say," she whispered. "Say you will remember us. Say you will remember the kittens. Say that if our peoples ever meet again, you will tell them what happened here." "I will. I promise." The kittens came to say goodbye. Each one pressed its head against Yuna's chest, that Valari gesture of trust and love. Yuna hugged each one, trying not to cry, failing completely. The little one with the broken leg was last. It held on to her for a long time. "I will miss you, little one," Yuna said. "Grow up strong. Be kind to others. Remember that softness is not weakness." The kitten made a small sound. Then it let go and walked back to the others. The ships took off. They rose into the sky like dark birds, leaving trails of light behind them. Yuna watched until they disappeared into the stars. She was alone, again. But she was not lonely anymore. 1 year later, a message came through her communication device. It was from Raya. "Yuna, I hope this finds you well. I wanted you to know that the kittens are growing fast. They talk about you every day. They have told their friends about the soft human who healed them with gentle hands. Now there are many young Valari who want to meet a human someday, but that is not the main reason I am contacting you. The Dominion has voted. We are sending our first diplomatic envoy to Earth. We want to talk to your people. We want to understand how a species so soft can be so strong. We want to know if there are more like you. I will be leading the envoy. I asked to do it. I wanted to see your world. I wanted to meet more humans. When we arrive, we will carry a message. This is what it says. We are the Valari. We are predators. We have conquered 100 worlds with our claws and our fangs. We feared nothing in the universe. But then we met humanity. We met a single human who ran toward danger instead of away from it. We met a healer whose hands never trembled. We met someone who saw our children not as aliens, not as threats, not as prey, but simply as children who needed help. We do not understand humans. We do not know how softness can contain such strength. We do not know how a species with no claws can be so brave. But we want to learn. We come not as conquerors. We come not as hunters. We come as students, hoping to understand. And we come to say thank you. For the kittens. For the lesson. For showing us that the universe is bigger than predator and prey. The kittens remember, Yuna. They always will. And because they remember, we will never forget. See you soon. Raya Yuna read the message 3 times. Then she went outside and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, a fleet of predators was flying toward Earth. Not to hunt. Not to conquer. Just to learn. All because one human had chosen to help. She smiled and whispered into the night. Come whenever you're ready. We have so much to teach each other. And the stars, as always, kept their ancient silence. But Yuna knew that soon, very soon, the silence would be broken by the sounds of friendship between worlds. She could not wait.